Hey guys, it's Mikey Musumeci here, and today we're going to go over a system I developed over all the years I've been competing. I've been competing 21 years now, and it's a straight ankle lock, straight foot lock system. Okay, this system I've used so much in competition. I just won my 4th black belt world title, and I used it in 2 of my matches. And the worlds before this, I finished an opponent in the world's finals in 12 seconds with this position, so it's super efficient. I think it's the most efficient game for competition, and I'm going to teach you guys a system I made here that's going to make your life way easier. Okay, I figured out all the counters that people can do. What you're going to also learn are the braking mechanics that we have for this position, and how we can use our whole body efficiently to finish people, okay? Partial mechanics will tap people, but when we use our body completely, that's what's gonna finish people every time, In no-gi, people always talk about heel hooks being such an efficient move, right? They could finish many people with heel hooks. I believe this system I'm going to show you is the heel hook of the gi, okay? And the reason why the straight ankle lock, straight foot lock in the gi is so efficient is because we have a gi to control, all right? In no gi, it becomes way harder with less friction, with being slippery. But in the gi, because we have friction with the gi and we have a collar to hold, the straight foot lock is my favorite move. And I think you guys are going to really love this system, okay? Please take this slow and try to pay attention to each detail I show you guys, because each small detail is going to make the biggest difference in these moves. And also, it's going to be super interesting learning the mechanics of the body and how we manipulate the body to do positions. If you guys are familiar with any of my material, I'm always studying the body. I'm always studying correlations in the body. If I can do one thing, then if I can't do one thing, I could do another thing, or vice versa. There's always correlations in jiu-jitsu, and we utilize them in this system all over, okay? So we're going to begin now, and I just wanted to give you a brief introduction to what we're going to be doing. And this series is going to cover the foot lock, the braking mechanics. There's going to be a section of the guard on the foot lock, of how I play guard, how I enter into this position. There's going to be many different things, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So now that we are ready to begin learning the footlock system, I'm going to explain to you what a footlock is. A straight foot. Okay, so look at John's foot. For me to do a straight footlock, I need to bend his toes down. Okay, when I bend his toes down, I can start applying pressure for the footlock. In the braking mechanics section, I'll explain how we're doing this and everything about it. But what I need you guys to understand, a prerequisite for you guys to understand when I'm doing a footlock, I need his toes in my armpit. Because what I'm using to bend his toes is my armpit, okay? Now, what I'm using to raise his leg up in order to bend his toes is my forearm, okay? That's my fulcrum, okay? And where does that go? That goes directly under the Achilles, okay? So as I have a footlock here, and I place his toes in my armpit, this is how we would do a footlock. My forearm directly under his Achilles, it's soft there. If his toes are bent the other way, and I go for a footlock, my forearm is on his shin, okay? And his toes are the opposite way of my armpit. Now his heel is by my armpit. This is not a straight footlock, guys, okay? So I need you guys to understand, to do a straight footlock, we're placing his toes in my armpit. My forearm directly under his Achilles where it's soft. And now I have a straight footlock. Okay. My head is aligned with his knee. You see? If it's other way, look how my head is aligned with his popliteal. Like it's not aligned with the upper part of his knee. You see this? That's how you know you're not doing the right move. Okay? And this is so important. I'm going to be explaining in later parts of this series why that's important. But I need his knee aligned with my head. I need my forearm under his Achilles. And I need his toes in my armpit. This is what a straight footlock is. So now we're going to continue. Yes. So now that we have some prerequisites for doing a footlock, meaning that his toes could go inside my armpit, my forearm goes directly under his Achilles. Now, knowing this, how are we going to get to a footlock? Okay. So what I want you guys to understand is, for me to get his toes in my armpit, my head must be aligned with his knee. You see, his kneecap right here. My head, my nose, must be aligned with it. If it's not, I want you to see what happens. My forearm goes to his shin again. I don't have it. This way. My forearm goes to his shin again. I don't have it. You guys see that? Every time his knee is this way, and I bring my head this way, look. My forearm goes under his Achilles. I have the footlock. Okay. Now, there's some variations of Aoki locks here where the heel comes out and my forearm touches his shin a little bit. But in terms of just a straight footlock and in terms of us doing this position, I always go for a straight footlock first. I want you guys to have that in mind. Align your head with your knee and you'll be able to get to the footlock. If my head is not aligned with the knee, I'm going to have to use my legs to align them with the knee. And that will ultimately align my head eventually with the knee. Okay? And that's where leg configurations in this series are going to come into play. Okay? And that's going to be the next segment. So first, we look at the knee. If my head is aligned with the knee, I could place his toes in my armpit, my forearm, under his Achilles. If any direction he goes, if I place my head aligned, I'll be able to do this. If it's not aligned, my arm's on his shin. This is no good for us. If it's not aligned, my arm's on his shin. This is no good for us. It actually hurts your forearm, guys. Okay? And you'll see people doing footlocks on people's shins, and only like super heavyweights, they can kind of break people's shins like that. Most people are not able to do that, okay? And I want to teach you guys the best way to do this. So, aligning your head with his leg, and now the next video is going to be explaining what to do with our legs when it's not aligned, okay? So now this next segment is going to be about leg positioning, okay? This is going to be the start of leg positioning. And I'm starting off very broad with you guys because I want you guys to see this very broadly. And once you see it very broadly, it won't matter your leg configuration as much. What will matter is you just following these broad concepts, okay? So now I'm going to be here with John. And like I said before, me not using my legs at all. If my head is aligned with his knee, I can place his toes in my armpit and lock a foot, right? Now, if John starts turning his knee open or closed, my head is no longer aligned with him, right? If I go for a foot lock, my forearm is on his shin. Not to be repetitive, but that's what I said previously, right? So now what I want you guys to see is this. Because I can't align my head right now with his knee, now I have to use my legs to do this, okay? So what am I going to do? The rule for us is whenever his knee is one direction, my inside leg, I want you guys to place in the same direction. So if that being a single leg X with my knee directly here and my foot directly here, if that being butterfly ashi with my knee directly here, hooking his hip or stepping and my other foot directly here, that will give us this alignment. So look how my knee begins to point the same way as his knee. If my leg was like this, look how it's pointing the same way to here. If I'm in single leg X, look how my knee points the same direction. Why is this relevant to us? Because as I'm pointing the same direction, look how my head becomes the same direction as his knee. You see this? Now that my head and nose align with his knee, look what happens to his toes. His foot goes in my armpit again. Look. Now I have the foot lock again. So what are leg configurations? Leg configurations for us are helping us adjust our hips to get the foot back in our armpit, okay? If I'm in this leg configuration, if I'm in this leg configuration. All of them are identical in the fact that we're just using them to get the toes back in our armpit, to place our forearm on the Achilles, are two prerequisites for doing a foot lock, right? and then braking mechanics we'll learn in a little bit. So again, we're here. I don't have any legs. If my head aligns with his knee, we could get this from anywhere, okay? Now he starts turning his leg one direction. I have to use my legs to angle my knees this way, please. I have to use my legs to angle my knee in the same line as him. Look at my knee. Same line. Here, my knee goes here. Now my foot could come up, and now look how his toes go in my armpit again. See, and my forearm feels the soft. If I feel it's soft here, that means it's right. If I feel shin, that means I'm doing it wrong, right? And I'm going to show you many methods to get it back to the soft, to the Achilles, right? Right now I'm on the shin, this is wrong. So I have to angle myself to always be aligned where I could place my forearm on the Achilles and his toes in my armpit to begin attacking the footlock, okay? So this was the beginning of leg configurations. Okay, so now in this segment, we're going to discuss further leg configurations. Because if I'm going for a footlock on John, and I'm not using my legs at all, what can John do? He could essentially just straighten his leg and go to mount on me. Come mount on me. Look, I can just come up and go to mount. Why? Because I have nothing framing him. Okay? So, not only are we using a leg configuration to align our knees with his, to ultimately get my head aligned with his knee, to place the foot in my armpit, right? We're using this leg configuration as a frame, as a way to control him, okay? So now I'm going to define framing for you. What is a frame? Go ahead and use this. If I'm here with John, and John tries to come into me, if I place a part of my body on John, now he cannot come into me, because I have a wall stopping him from coming into me. If I have no wall, John comes into me every time, you see? So, what we're doing with our leg configuration is we're trying to frame him, to make distance. If I could keep him from coming into me, I could control his attacks on me, right? I have defense, I have distance. And that's what we're doing when we're using leg configurations, okay? So when I'm here, and I'm in any leg configuration, come into me, now he can't, right? Because I'm placing my body on him to stop him from coming into me, okay? How am I doing that? Depending on the leg configuration, will depend on what frames we have on his body, right? So, in the footlock series that you're going to learn, there's many different leg configurations here, right? It's however I use my legs. My favorite leg configuration at first in the footlock series will be butterfly ashi. Why? So, butterfly ashi, when I'm here, I'll do it on this side. When I'm here, my foot steps directly on his hip bone, okay? My other foot frames the inside of his hip, right here. Okay? So now I have two frames on him with my legs. So now come into me. This is very safe for him coming into me. Okay? Another leg configuration we can do for the footlock that will enable me to align my knees with him is single leg X, which they call ashigarami in Nogi, I believe the Nogi people call it. And again, what is significant about this? I have a frame of my knee on his hip, this frame of my knee on his hip, and my other foot directly steps on his ASIs, which is his hip bone, okay? A rule of thumb when you're framing someone is, you always want to frame the bone on their body, opposed to soft tissue. If you've seen my previous DVDs, I discussed this so much. The concept of bone versus soft tissue. If I'm here with John Garnings, and I grab soft tissue on John, and it comes into me, my wrist bends. You see, because I'm not directly framing it. But as I go to his collarbone come into me, now he's not able to. He feels there's a wall because it's directly on the bone, okay? So I always want you guys, when you're doing any type of guard or leg configuration, to frame their bone. It's significantly stronger. Soft tissue completely bends because you're not framing directly on the bone. So when I'm here, in either leg configuration, butterfly ashi, look how my foot directly goes on his hip bone, the ASIS. Okay, that the anterior superior iliac spine. That's what the front of the hip bone is called. Okay, or if I'm in single leg X, my knee and foot both frame his hip bone. Okay, both of these are going to be great spots for us to do the footlock from. I prefer butterfly ashi, which I'm going to discuss in a later segment why I think that this one is safer for us to do. But conceptually, I need you guys to understand both are framing identical ways and both are serving the same function for us of us aligning our inside leg with his knee and getting my head aligned with his knee to place the toes in our armpit. Or here, aligning my inside leg with his knee to place his toes in my armpit. Okay? So this section, this segment, I just wanted to give you guys another understanding of framing. Okay? And this is what's going to lead to us to get our leg configuration to attack the footlock. Listen. So now what I'm going to discuss in this video is the difference between butterfly ashi and the single leg X ashi garami, okay? What makes one stronger than the other and when I should be doing either or, okay? My preferred place for finishing the footlock is butterfly ashi. The reason being is this. If I go to standard ashi garami here, single leg X, and I'm in this spot, if John brings his, if he takes off my foot and walks over my foot, I lost my forward frame. Remember what I told you previously, framing for us is everything. And he just removed it, right? So my knee is my only frame I have left, and it's so shallow here. Now he can remove my legs, and now what just happened? I lost all my frames. So now John can come into me and possibly pass my guard, okay? So that is a problem with the single leg X. Every time he can remove my foot, I'm in trouble, okay? So when I'm playing the single leg X footlock scenario, I would be playing it if I have his back leg and I'm stepping on his hip like so. Now, if he tries to remove my foot, I'm square with him. It becomes difficult, you see? So if I'm here, if I'm here and my foot's on his hip, and I'm here and he tries to remove my foot, it's very difficult because my knee protects my foot when my hips are square with it. Okay? Now, what you're going to learn in this series, in the breaking mechanics section, there's a few different angles that I'll be finishing the footlock. Okay? One will be inside, one will be square, and one will be on the outside. And then one will be belly down. Okay? Now, the angles of my hips are so relevant when we're doing a footlock. Okay? It's all about the angles. And why is it relevant? Because we need to keep our head aligned with our knee. We need to keep our knees aligned with our knee, right? If we didn't angle ourselves correctly, I would be with my arm on his shin, and I would have no footlock, and his toes the other way, okay? So that's why the angles come into play. Us continually staying with our body in correct alignment enables me to get to the footlock. And that's why we have all the different finishes, okay? So if I'm in the ashigarami, I'm going to be square with John, my head aligned with his head. And now I can start attacking the footlock here. You see? Now I can start attacking the footlock here. But every time I can't keep his back leg and he starts turning into me this way, look how I'm in danger now. He removes his foot, we're screwed. So come back. That's why I like the butterfly action. Remove my foot, please. It's very difficult. Because now my legs are correctly angled that every time he wants to remove my feet, I'm safe here. I have my hand to protect me. I have a way better breaking mechanics for outside finishing on him, which is my preferred method for finishing this footlock a lot of the time. Finishing on the outside, okay? In the single leg X, finishing on the outside becomes a little more difficult when I close my elbow because he can remove my foot. You see, I'm limited with how much I can keep my foot here. This one, I don't have to worry about it. So that's why I prefer this one for any time I'm finishing on the outside. Again, the single leg X one is great. Okay, there's definitely many different great ways to do it. It's more square though, and more inside. If I go outside with the single leg X one, I have to do a really good job of keeping my foot connected to my knee and keeping my foot on his hip. If I lose that connection, I'm in trouble. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys an understanding of the leg configurations and a little more background with them and why some of them are stronger than others. Listen. Okay guys, so we previously discussed the first part of controlling someone, and that's framing someone, right? That's where I place a part of my body on them, and that stops them from coming into me, right? This is so important for distance management. So important for stopping someone from attacking me, okay? But now my question is this. What stops John, when he comes into me from just backing away, angling around me, and not coming into me again? You see? This is a big problem with just framing someone, because it's only 50% of control, okay? The other 50% is hooking someone to stop them from backing away, okay? So a problem you'll see when people are doing foot locks is this. I'll start going for a foot lock on him, framing him. Now what stops him from just backing away from me? Look, I'm trying to get his foot and he just kicks away and backs away, you see? I just lost everything. It's because I'm not hooking him, okay? What is a hook? A hook is when I place a part of my body behind him. I have volume behind him. Now when he tries to back away, he cannot, because I have volume behind him, okay? You'll see this in many different guards that we play. Okay, stand up please. I like to use Del Akiva as an example. If I hook his knee like so, I place volume of my toes behind his knee, right? I grab his ankle. This one, please. I grab this ankle. I place volume of my hand behind it. Now when he tries to back away, he cannot, because I have volume behind him, okay? So now, let's go back to these. Again, if I place volume behind him, but I have no frames coming to me and go to mount, look what happens. He gets mount. So, again, understanding that that's 50% of the control is hooking, the other 50% is framing. Once we have both, what do we have? We have total control, okay? So what I need you guys to understand is, if you're only doing one of these things, you'll have a lot of problems doing any position in Jiu-Jitsu. So I need you guys to focus on having both. So now let's go back to the two guards that I discussed. Butterfly Ashi. What is nice about Butterfly Ashi? Butterfly Ashi, I'll go here first so you can see. I have a hook on the inside of his knee. You see this? So this is one hook that I already have on him. So I have a hook and a frame at the same time. So if he comes into me, my toe frames his hip bone, his ASIS. When he backs away from me, my toes hook his knee. That's one hook. You guys see that? So now, what is another hook? Another hook I have, whenever he's trying to back away from me, back away, I could hook his body like so, okay? If this was no gi, I would not recommend hooking his body here. This is heel hook exposure. You see this? So we would always be stepping on the hip heel, okay? I do both gi and no gi now, so I'm always gonna tell you guys like where heel hooks and stuff are, just so you have an understanding of it, because it's important for all jiu-jitsu, okay? So my foot's hooking his knee, right? My other foot is stepping here or hooking. This gives me two hooks, right? Now let's go to the single leg X. My foot hooking his leg like so, right? See how it hooks? My other foot stepping on the leg acts as a hook, right? Because there's volume here behind his knee. So now, if he tries to back away from me, it becomes difficult. You see how I'm using my both legs as hooks. Now, again, let's look at Butterfly Ashi versus Single Leg X. If I'm in Butterfly Ashi and I have two hooks like this, completely hooking him, back away, this feels a lot stronger than if I'm like here and here. Why? Because my only hook is with my foot, again, which is very vulnerable to him peeling. If he peels this foot, I only have one hook on him. So now he can go around me again and move away from me and back away from me. Because I only have one thing hooking him, he could clear it and back away, right? So that's why I prefer Butterfly Ashi in terms of controlling someone. I feel like it's a safer place to have complete control, okay? Now another definition for you guys is the middle ground. I always say that the person's in the middle ground when? The person's in the middle ground whenever they feel that they cannot come into me, and they try to back away from me, they can't back away either. So now they're stuck in the middle ground. That's how I like to describe that. And whenever they're stuck in the middle ground is when I begin to attack them. Okay, so he tries to back away, he's stuck. My knees align, I start getting his Achilles under my forearm, his toes in my armpit. Now I have a full lock. Okay. So in this series, you're going to see me saying all these terms a lot, and I just want to get you guys familiar with them, okay? So again, framing, hooking, both are essential for us to attack our partner. We get them to the middle ground with sufficient frames and hooks. And our goal is going to be in this series to make as many frames and hooks as we can. Because our whole goal in Jiu-Jitsu is to control people as much as we can. This left arm, what can I be doing with it? I can grab his collarbone. Again, another frame. But what I want you to see when I'm holding a collar is this. When I hold a collar, notice how my fingers go inside the collar. Wait, now my fingers exceed the collar. You see this? So if he backs away from me, he can't. That's what's so amazing about the gi versus no gi. No gi, we don't have the novelty of having a collar to make volume behind the person. In no gi, I would have to control his neck, his back. You see, in the gi, we can grab right in front of him and have volume behind him. So when he tries to back away, he can't, okay? So we're going to be utilizing the collar many times in this series, okay? Because it gives me another hook, and again, come into me with your chest, another frame. Because my knuckles are directly on his collarbone, which is a bone, right? We're not on soft tissue here. Come into me, my arm bends, you see? It's almost like a wrist lock, okay? So this segment was just to explain more about controlling the person, and now we're getting to the next step. Okay guys, so now we just learned what controlling someone is. For my partner to attack me, what do they have to do? What they have to do is they have to eliminate my frames and hooks on them. Like I said previously, if I don't have frames on them, they could come into me, right? So once I get my hooks on the partner, they'll feel that they could start coming in because they can't back away, right? So there are only options to come in. So as they come in, my frames are what protect me. Now, what they're going to be doing in this scenario is removing my frames, okay? And it's going to be up to me to get my frames back, okay? So how I'm going to teach you guys in this first part of this series is how to gain our frames back. And basically the concept is this. Whenever I'm framing my partner and my partner removes one of my frames, it's up to me to use my other frames to gather back that frame that I lost, okay? And a rule that I like to play when I play guard, I like to have always at least 3 frames on my partner. The reason being is exactly what I said. If I only had 1 frame on him and he removes it, I'm screwed, right? If I have 1 frame on John, he takes it off of me, now comes into me, I'm screwed, right? But if I have 2 frames and he removes one of them, now I can frame off of this and then gain another, right? But again, 2 is dangerous because it's still not that good. He can remove 1 and then remove the other 2 and not come into me. But if I have 3 frames on him, he removes 1. Now I have 2 things to push off of, I can gain it back, okay? My favorite example to explain this is collar sleeve. So stand up, please. I'm here in collar sleeve. And I'm here. I have 1 frame on his shoulder, right? I have another frame on his other shoulder here. And I have another frame on his hip here. Will you move this, please? So now I have 2 frames, right? Now it's up to me to frame to bring back this frame. You see? Or even if I'm stepping here, remove this again. I use both frames to circle and bring this frame back. So I want you guys to always try to get 3 frames on the person, and that is what's going to give us the 3rd frame back, okay? So always have in your mind, we want at least 3 frames on the person. And that's going to protect us from them attacking us. And if they try to back away, our hooks protect us, okay? So in the next segment, we're going to begin how to protect ourselves when we're playing these leg configurations. So now we're ready to begin learning how to control our partner from butterfly hashi. Okay, so I'm going to be here with John. And I'm going to be here. So we just learned previously his only options to remove my frames, right? His options are whatever frames I have on him, he has to remove, right? I'm going to be keeping my hand either on his collarbone as a frame or directly under his kneecap, right here, okay? This will be framing his leg. So if he brings his knee into me, it protects me, okay? And for breaking mechanics section, this grip here on the tibial tuberosity is amazing, okay? And I'm going to explain that why after. Okay, so I'm here with John. Now John, this section is going to be, now John has two options, right? He can remove my top foot or my bottom foot, right? Or he could take my hand off his collar. So if he takes my hand off his collar, I push him away and I go back, right? Because I have 3 frames. So he takes this off. In my mind, I'm going to use my other 2 frames on him to push. Now I pull him back in, and now I can grab the collar again. You see that? So that's the first option. Now the second option. He removes my top foot off his bottom, right? So now how many frames do I have? I have 2 frames. One on his collarbone, the other with my foot inside his body here. We immediately begin to use that inside foot, stepping on his ASIS to frame. So push my foot down. I push that foot, I push the collar, and now what do? I regain my 3rd frame. Foot back to the head. You see this? So every time he removes this foot, we punch the collar, we punch the inside grip, we bring it back. Okay? That's the second way that I can bring my frames back. The third one now, he removes my bottom leg here. Okay? Now again, what do I have? My foot on the ASIS, my other hand on the collarbone. All I'm going to do in this scenario, if we're following our rules, he removes this, we push away. We back our leg up, we bring it back in. Now I have my 3 frames back. Okay? So let's change angle so you can see my feet on the set for that last one. Here. And then butterfly ashi, I'm here. John removes my bottom hook. All I do is I punch, I back up this leg. As I back it up, I have my 2 frames. So he can't come into me right now. Now I just move, keep pushing down. I move my leg away from him. I can grab his knee now and pull my knee back in to grab here. Okay? So back to this side now. When I get the butterfly ashi, I'm here. He pushes down my bottom leg. I push his shoulder, the collarbone. I push his hip bone. I back my leg up. And now all I have to do is bring my knee back under. You see? If I need to, I can switch my frame from the collarbone to the knee. Now when I'm on the knee, I can make my hand exceed going inside the popliteal to pull it up to bring my knee back in. Okay? And now I have a frame again on him, and I have all 3 of my frames. Okay? So now this is how we regain our 3 frames in butterfly ashi. Okay guys, so now I'm going to give you more details in how to fix your frames from the butterfly ashi. Okay, so this is going to be the first video. I'm going to be here in butterfly ashi with John. How we're going to do this is I'm going to have you guys place your foot on the inside of his leg like so. My knee acts as a wedge on his leg. I'm going to talk about setting up the footlock after. I just wanted to start how I am just so you guys learn to control the person. Okay, then we can work on entrances and stuff like that. Okay, so we're just going to get our form directly on the soft tissue. I mean the soft part of his leg, you see? This is soft. If you feel it painful, that means you're on the shin and that means you're doing it wrong. Because your head is not aligned with his knee. So we're just going to hook his knee, our head aligned with the knee, and we're going to get the footlock. And we're going to be here. Okay. Now when I'm here, John's going to remove my top leg. Okay. Now he has 2 hands, right? Every human typically has 2 hands. And they can remove my leg. Either with his back arm or that forward arm. Okay. Now what John might be thinking about doing is eventually moving this off, putting pressure on my leg, coming up in a leg drag, like so. You see? So I have to have that in mind whenever I have my top foot on his hip like so. He might try to remove it and leg drag. Okay. So if he uses this first, the back arm. This arm. Yes. And starts pushing it off. Whenever I feel this, I want you guys to just frame his body like so. We're just framing and I'm bringing my foot back. If he's stronger and I feel like I'm having trouble, I have my 2 frames, I'm allowed to let go of this hand, hold his sleeve, and break his grip. And now I bring my leg back. Okay? I have the option because I have frames on him. Okay? And I want you guys to start noticing the footlock is almost a frame as well. Because I'm able to use my chest and body on his shin. It acts as a frame for him to bring his leg in and come into me with your foot. You see how my body here frames his leg? So it could be technically another frame. So whenever I feel he removes this foot with this arm, we frame his body, we try to go back. I use my toes directly on his stomach. I claw like my toes. And then I bring my foot back. Okay. Now if I need to, and he goes and he's stronger, I just grab his sleeve. And all I'm going to do is try to break and go back. So grab stronger. Now look, I'm trying to go back. I can't. What I do is I make my leg exceed his body and go back, okay? So now if he goes with the other arm for the light drag, same thing. I frame his shoulder, I bring my toes back. If I need to and it's too strong, we just grab his sleeve and we try to break and we go back. If now go back to the other arm, another function you could use with this arm, right? You could peel my toes this way, right? This is another way you can, so try to peel. If he does, I bring my knee to my chest, look. As I bring my knee to my chest, I'm just going to bring my hand inside and go back to this spot. If he goes again, go again. I just push his stomach to frame. I push his knee. If I can't grab his collar, if I'm holding his collar and he does this, I feel like it's really easy for me to just pull him in, break, come back, okay? But again, just getting used to using my hand on the collar, the knee here, and the sleeve is what I need you guys to understand. That's all I'm doing in this spot, okay? So this clip is just to explain all his options on removing this leg. I don't think there's any more things he could do like with this arm. He could either remove my toes with this arm or the other arm, right? So we have an answer. We break the grip, we frame, we go back. And we are ready to go. So now we're going to talk about the second scenario of our partner pushing down our bottom hook, okay? So here with John, get to the butterfly ashi. I get the soft part of his leg on my forearm, meaning his toes are in my armpit, right? I lock it up, and I'm here. Okay? So now, John removes the inside foot off his body, like so. Okay? Let's change angles. So, I'm in butterfly ashi, here. He's going to be removing this inside foot off his body. Remove it. Okay? So, I'm going to lose it. So, we're here, he removes it. I immediately use my top leg on his hip bone, framing it. I use my other top leg here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push away. And as I push away, look how he loses his grip. You see, because his arm can only go a certain distance. Every time he tries to keep it, he loses it, okay? Now if I go here and he pulls it in, my foot goes back in, right? Obviously. So if he pulls when I'm backing away, I can just put my foot back in every time. You guys see that? So as I'm here, I back away. I remove it by stretching my foot away from him. I can go back. When I'm stretching, he doesn't let me go fully away. I can come back in. Okay? Now let's just say he pins it down really hard, and now I can't move it. It's pinned. All I'm going to do is just bring my knee to the floor, like so. Now let's change angles this way. All I'm going to do is when he removes that bottom leg, I bring my knee to the floor. And as I bring my knee to the floor, look how I can push into him even more. Now I'm going to take my hand, grabbing right on the outside of his popliteal, inside his popliteal, his knee. And now I'm going to scoop and pull my knee back in. Okay? So that eliminates his control. Why am I able to do this? It's a concept that I use a lot in the gi. And basically, when he pins down my leg like so, he's dominating the lower part of my leg, right? So whenever he dominates the lower part of my leg, I'm going to use the end of the lever upper part of my leg. What is that? My knee. So whenever he dominates the lower part of my leg like he is, I can go on my knee every time. Because he's not controlling my knee. Okay? So all I have to do is change my foot from a side foot to a live foot and use my knee. So all I do is this. 1, 2, my knee comes up. Now that my knee is up, which he couldn't stop me from doing, I just grab right behind the popliteal. I try to grab as deep as I can. I pull it up, and now I bring my knee back. And now I'm in the perfect spot. Okay? So again, he removes. All I'm going to do is go on my knee like so, framing his head. I grab the popliteal, I scoop, I come back. Again, remove. I go on my knee. Here. Again. Again. Okay? So this is how we deal with the second option he has. And you guys see how limited he is with his options to remove my frames. That's why this position is so strong.